A MacBook has apps in a browser, an iPad has apps in a browser. So why do we pick on iPadOS? Let's talk about it. Hi everyone and welcome to the channel. I've been using my M4 11-inch iPad with Smart Keyboard for the past week and have resisted picking up my MacBook Air to see if iPadOS can stand up to my Mac. And I'm going to share my thoughts on this with you today. But before we get started, be sure to like this video if you found it useful, click on subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss when I post new how-tos and reviews. I feel like there's this thing about iPadOS. You know, I just said I've resisted picking up my MacBook Air, and I say that with good reason. macOS is just superior to iPadOS. Now, depending on your daily workflow, some of the things I'm talking about may or may not resonate with you. And when it comes to work, you might be using Google, Microsoft, or some other apps that are either going to work well with iPadOS or not. I think what I've learned over the past week is that even with something like Stage Manager, iPadOS is more of a focus-driven device. You only have so much screen real estate to use. Whether you have an 11-inch or 13-inch iPad, you're still limited in space compared to a MacBook. However, you can connect your iPad to an external monitor. But I find that when I'm on my Mac, I'm primarily doing everything in browser tabs. I might have multiple apps open and lots of browser tabs, but I'm generally focused on one window. And it's funny because when the iPhone first came out, everything was a web app, and it's almost like we've come full circle there with using web apps again. Take the LinkedIn app, for example. Most people will go straight to the app because it's there. They have an app, but it's not really good on the iPad. But if you go to their website, it works great on an iPad. Full experience just like you get on your Mac. Then you have an app like Spark that works great on an iPad, and you don't need a browser to check email. And Google. They do have Google Apps for Docs, Sheets, and Slides, but Google Apps work better in a browser window, just like they do on your Mac. Let's talk about browsers for a minute because that is a negative on iPadOS. I love using Chrome. With their profiles, it's just a great solution for keeping work and personal separate. I even have profiles set up for demonstrations that I do, and I use certain extensions of specific profiles. Safari recently brought profiles to their browser, but they have limited extensions available. If you choose to use Chrome across all your devices, it works pretty well, but Chrome on iOS and iPadOS does not support profiles, although you can pick up where you left off across your devices if you're signed in. So if you use a lot of extensions, you're probably going to have to stick with Chrome on your Mac because Chrome on iOS does not support extensions. But if you don't use many extensions, I would give Safari a try. It actually works pretty good on iPadOS, and you get nice full web pages instead of mobile versions. And you can use extensions on iPadOS Safari. The MacBook still does not have a cellular option, whereas you can get an iPad with Wi-Fi and cellular. And you can turn your phone into a hotspot or use an external hotspot to connect your iPad, but having the cellular option built in is really nice and something I wish they'd offer on the MacBook. As someone who travels for work, it's great to just open up your iPad and be connected, especially if you're in a hurry and you need to take care of a message or email before you board a flight, or pull up a presentation in an office without connecting to Wi-Fi first. It's a change in mindset using an iPad as your daily driver. When you've got your MacBook nearby, I think it's just natural to grab it. That's your comfort zone. Your no compromises machine to get work done. But you can get things done on your iPad. And being able to disconnect the screen from the Smart Keyboard to make it even more portable is very convenient. Of course, I'm excited to see what iPadOS 18 has in store for us, and we should see that in the next couple of weeks. I'd like to think that maybe there's something big in store considering they just put M4 chips in the iPad, but we'll have to see. What are your thoughts on using your iPad for doing everything? Have you tried it? Are you a fan? What did you like, dislike about the experience? Drop a comment below and let me know. Thanks again for watching, everyone, and we'll talk soon.